How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. So over on Dixie for the daily, we are seeing a little bit of a rejection, and we do have a potential descending channel. Remember, a descending channel would try to push you up, but we'll get on that on the hourly because to me, it looks more like a bearish continuation, and we'll break down why. Stochastic does want to pull back. Our RSI is pulling back as well due to stochastic crashing, so keep an eye on that as that could cause us to push lower. Momentum does want to pull back. VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is overall starting to weaken, so I would watch that VWAP. If it cannot reclaim bullish territory, it's likely momentum and money flow will continue to crash. How's it going, Hot Rail Hype? I hope you're having a great day. Over on the 1 hour here, this is where we have that potential descending channel. So our tops do connect pretty decent, but our three bottoms here really don't connect too well unless you start mixing these wicks, which it's pretty loose because this bottom here still doesn't get accounted for. So to me, this looks more like a bearish continuation rather than a descending channel. Descending channel would try to break that resistance area. A bearish continuation would try to break our support area. Our side does want to weaken as that stochastic is starting to round. Our VWAP is bullish, but we have a lower high, so watch as it starts to taper. If it pulls back here, momentum will remain bearish, and money flow will go into the red, and we will see a continued sell-off. Again, that would be more positive for crypto, as usually they are inversely related, except for days like today. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are very indecisive, as total and Bitcoin were relatively similar. Bitcoin lost about 1/3%, total lost about almost a whole percent here right now. It's fluctuating right now, but we do see futures to gain, so that's kind of throwing things out of the loop. So stochastic does want to push up, momentum is rounding, RSI is starting to kind of pull back, so keep an eye on that stochastic. If stochastic makes a break, RSI could lead us lower, and then we could see altcoins outperform Bitcoin. VWAP is overall pulling back with lower highs and potential a lower low if we break that neutral and hold. If we break our neutral and hold, we will see momentum and money flow start to weaken. Over on total for the daily, we did reject the top of our rising triangle here. So this rising triangle does have three confirmation points here that is positive, and we are trying to stay above our previous bear consolidation zone from the bear market. So that's positive as well. If we can continue this trend, we may still see that break forward. Remember, this channel could push us right around that 700 billion, and that could give us close to some previous highs like we saw in May for our altcoins. Our stochastic does want to push up. RSI is starting to weaken. That VWAP is bullish, but starting to taper off. Just watch for higher highs with higher lows. If we can remain bullish, we will continue higher here. Watch for these indicators to kind of flatten out. Usually when you get near the tips of these triangles, they do kind of flatten out and they can be hard to read. So just keep that in mind. That's why usually you trade on your breakouts. Over on the 1 hour, we do have multiple touches to our channel. We did get multiple bounces. So that is positive. That does show we have tried to break it, but we were unsuccessful. So if we can break and hold that blue EMA over the next few hours, then we do have a chance of pushing forward as long as we don't make a rising channel here. Our stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is weakening. That VWAP does have higher highs and higher lows, so that is giving us bullish strength to push momentum and money flow higher. As long as that can maintain, it's likely we would hold above these EMAs and then continue forward, seeing our EMA band kind of spread apart. Again, remember we did warn when it kind of spreads apart, you do usually get some sort of a retracement. This is our retracement. Now we may see a little bit of a pump and see these EMAs make a bounce off of each other. So over on Bitcoin futures, we do still have several gaps to the downside, so keep that in mind here, but we do look pretty decent right now. So stochastic does want to round, RSI is flat, momentum does want to pull back, and VWAP does want to break down, but our lower time frames could look a little more bullish, so we will cover that. Money flow is in the green, so that is positive as that VWAP holds bullish. Over on the 1 hour, we could have a flag possibility here. We will get on the breakout scenario on Bitcoin. I have it mapped out there, but we have this consolidation range. If you measure from here to here, you get a shorter breakout. If you want to consider this whole break, you do get a bear breakup. Our stochastic does want to push up. RSI is trying to gain strength. VWAP is starting to pull back, but that momentum does want to break that neutral. If that VWAP can stay bullish and continue to get higher highs and higher lows, momentum will push forward, money flow will remain green, and we will continue forward to our Bitcoin breakout. So you're probably curious where those will be. Over on Bitcoin, VWAP does want to pull back, momentum is rounding, money flow does want to pull back. we do look decent overall. We do still have strength on the bearish side, providing lower time frames can hold. So over on the 1 hour for our breakout scenarios, so our shorter breakout scenario could be about 74.6. Our bigger breakout scenario would be about 77K. So either of these would be a new high, and I would exercise caution against making a new high because usually the last few times we have made new highs, we have seen some pullbacks. So I would just warn against that, and keep in mind we do have our gaps to the downside. So if we get this breakup, we would want to hold above this Fibonacci zone. This Fibonacci zone is the history of Bitcoin. So if we break above it and continue forward, that means we will get a new high that could create a new bullish trend. VWAP is pulling back, momentum wants to push forward, money flow is in the green but tapering away, so keep an eye on that VWAP. As long as it stays bullish, it's likely we can continue forward. We do have 2 touches to the top, 3 to the bottom, so ideally we will bounce off the CMA, continue forward, and get our break up. If we do not break around the 3rd touch to the top, remember then it's likely bears can gain control and invalidate. So that's why you want to keep an eye on the VWAP as we kind of remain in our channel. And again, that's usually why you wait for bounces. The shorter move would be harder to get on a bounce. The bigger move would be more ideal for a bounce. So it's harder to trade these smaller patterns. Over on graph for the daily, and you don't have to take every trade. Just mentally trade. If you think it's going to go up and you don't want to take the risk, just say, okay, I'd buy here and I'd sell there, and kind of set your alerts, see what would happen. That's a way you can train yourself without losing any money or having any risk. Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to pull back as a result on graph for the daily. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Momentum is pushing forward with the green dot, pushing money flow into the green. So we do look pretty positive here. Over on the 1 hour, we are struggling with our EMAs, but we are not maintaining below our EMA channel. That's important because this could try to push us forward. This may be a bit of a symmetrical triangle, 50-50 pattern. I don't like drawing them because they may go up, may go down. Not very good pattern to see, but we did get our rising channel break down, so we will delete this, and as long as we can gain bullish momentum from here, we could push forward toward our 300 EMA, try to reclaim that, and then push to resistance. Our stochastic is starting to pull back. That VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing forward, and money flow is in the green. So we are pretty positive. I would just watch. We are making a gap as we continue forward here. And if we do run up, remember gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill. So we could come down and fill that later. We also have this one at 15,595. Over on Ankr, speaking of gaps, Ankr loves its gaps. So if you're into gap trading, this is one to kind of watch. Over on the daily, we do have a little bit of a pullback. We did break our EMA here. We are trying to confirm below our EMA, so I would keep an eye here. RSI does want to pull back, stochastic is starting to round. That VWAP does want to hold bullish, so that is positive, pushing momentum higher and giving money flow strength. Watch for that to continue on lower time frames, otherwise we could see a rejection here. Over on the 1 hour, we may have a descending channel. Let's try to draw this out. So these highs and lows do connect pretty well, so I would watch for another touch to the downside. If we break our EMA band and then touch to the downside, that's where we could end up breaking down. I would watch for a hold right around this 25.3 gap, 25.33. If we can bounce there, then we can continue forward. If we do not, then it's likely we will fill other gaps to the downside, like our 25.1, and then we have some other previous lower ones. Our stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to pull back, so I would watch that stochastic as it continues to pull away. We could see bears remain in control. Money flow is pulling back as that VWAP is very indecisive. It does have a slightly higher low, but we're getting consistent weak highs. Watch for a stronger high. If we can continue to push up and give that momentum strength, then we can continue our bounce. However, if that VWAP gives up the strength here and we get another weak high like back here, I would warn against the lower low and then a breakdown. So over on XRP, remember we'll stop at ALGO. Actually, we'll stop at DAG today because I did do some additional drawing on DAG that I have not done before. So we'll kind of cover how that looks for you, Hot Rail Hype. I know you're probably still into that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is starting to lose strength. Our VWAP is pushing forward. Momentum does want to gain strength. And money flow is in the green. So we do look positive. And we are trying to make a bounce off the bottom of our channel with a long lower shadow candle. So if followed by a strong green candle, we may have a chance to break that 54 and hold. So thumbs up. So I guess we're good to go on DAG. So anyone have any other requests, remember drop them in the chat. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a potential for a descending channel right here that did possibly get a little bit of a push forward. So I would watch. If that VWAP can stay bullish, momentum will break through that neutral and push money flow higher. If that can maintain for several hours and we break that 300 EMA and bounce, unlike these rejections here, then we will see that push up to that 54 area. So over on ALGO for the daily, we are pulling back toward the bottom of our channel. Watch that very close. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Momentum is pushing forward. Money flow is green. Stochastic's pushing up, and RSI does want to weaken. So I would watch that. If that stochastic breaks down, remember that could start to cascade us lower. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a consolidation after a push down. This could create a mini bear flag to retest the bottom of our channel. And if we break that bottom of the channel, that's where we could see that lower break. Remember, this channel can break us to our previous lows of 890. So 8 cents, almost 9 cents. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to sell off. VWAP does have a lower low, so watch that as momentum is dropping and money flow is losing strength. If that VWAP does not reverse and gain bullish traction soon, it's likely we will break our EMA and then continue lower. So Ando will get that for you, Yada. That'll be right after DAG for you. So thanks for your request. Again, if you guys are not in our Discord, click that link, join us in. You can ask for any kind of advice whenever. I will give my opinion on whatever you ask for. VWAP is trying to break toward the bullish territory, but we're starting to round here. Our momentum is pushing down and money flow is in the bearish territory. So you'll see I drew a Fibonacci zone and a fixed range volume profile. The Fibonacci zone here really isn't helpful as we're in one big Fibonacci area. So that really doesn't give us much to go on for support and resistances in this range. But our fixed range volume profile, we do have our point of control and we did make a bounce. We are pulling back toward it though, so I would watch for another bounce. If we can continue to bounce off this area without breaking below that black line for our triangle, then we do still have potential to continue forward. But if we break that point of control and then continue seeing red candles, we could push to that value area low, that green line, and then that's where we could continue lower if we're not careful. Our stochastic is pulling back, RSI is rounding. Keep an eye on that VWAP on lower time frames because the daily doesn't look too great there. Over on the 1 hour, we did break our 300 EMA several times and we got rejected several times, so I would exercise caution. We are trying to test the lower side of our EMA band, and if our lower EMAs like the green and blue break below our higher EMAs like the gray and black, then it's likely we will continue lower. Stochastic is dropping down, momentum is rounding away, VWAP is breaking down, and money flow is pushing down. We can get into what we can see for Ankr in a minute for you, Milkman. We will cover Ando real quick, and then we'll jump back over to Ankr and see what kind of things we have going on. If I can type, that is. So Ando, USDT, we'll go with KuCoin just to keep consistency. Looks like we do have some previous TAs, so I believe you did ask me for this before. This did have a rising triangle, and we did get an invalidation, so this does show why those bounces and confirmations are important, because you would have wanted to watch for a bounce forward off the top. If you saw this candle break to the downside, then that could have been a cautionary tale that we could continue lower. We did not see that, as the rest of the market is trying to fight its way back up. RSI is starting to pull back. Stochastic is running up though, so if that stochastic can hold above 30, RSI could push us forward and we can still break back into this channel. We may have some sort of a flag going on here now, so I would warn against a flag scenario because this would be coming from a breakdown. Our VWAP is bullish, momentum is heading up with a green dot, and money flow is in the green, so that is positive, and we're retesting that 300 EMA. I don't know if we have a 300 EMA actually because this is so new. We do have a 250, that gray EMA, so we are trying to break our higher EMA bands. We might have a few more days before we see a 300 EMA appear. Over on the 1 hour, we do have 300-hour candles, 301-hour candles, so we do have that black line here. So we are seeing a break and a bounce off that EMA. That is very positive. If we can sustain above our blue EMA here and get higher highs with higher lows, we could create a bullish trend and see that VWAP break for a higher high. We do have a higher low, so watch for a higher high. If we follow with that higher high, momentum will push up, money flow will remain green, and we will see those higher time frames push forward. So now we'll jump over to Ankr for you, Milkman. Over on the daily, we'll start on the weekly. So over on the weekly, We do have several EMA channels that we have had in the past. Ideally, we would want to see some sort of a retest of our highs. We do have about 16 cents, so nothing too exciting. This did start just before some of the bear markets, so Ankr doesn't have very much higher than that in history that it could go. I would watch for a continuation. That is a pretty decent move, though. If we did, I don't know if I have the tool here. Yeah, I don't have the tool. There is a tool to draw a break forward. I forget what tool that was because I don't really use it too much. It'll give you like percentages. Let's see, forecasting, and then I think, I can't remember which one it was. Not to kind of mess with these and find out. I do have it on my app on my phone. I do have that stuff favorited. I use the phone app more, but I would watch. This is a, oops, did not mean to start drawing here. We have the wrong thing selected. We do have the potential to push to previous highs at least. That's where I would be eyeballing some sort of a kind of buyout or sell off. This 13,399 is a very critical area. That's our golden pocket area. That's where you're going to have the most manipulation, so we can run up and then reject it if we're not careful. It is going to depend on things like, do we have more active wallets? Do we see more people adopting the chain? This is going to go for any chain if you want to continue growth. If your chain does not continue growth, then it's going to die off. It'll continue to bleed out, and then you will lose value. But, so we do have the possibility here on this current, I don't like all these ranges, so we'll jump here. So on our current fixed range volume profile that we can see, we have our value area high around this 40.49. We would ideally see a bounce off this point of control right around this 28.53 to continue toward that area. And then I would watch support resistance areas along the way to continue forward. No problem, Yada. Hope it was very helpful. We can cover AMP if you, oh, you don't care for AMP, never mind. I would agree. I'm not too fond of them myself. Milkman does say he is fond of them, so there is differences. Again, just watch for if it's continuing to grow. So, yeah, just a little bit more chat about that. So I would watch. We can mess around here real quick if I can find this tool. I think it might be this forecast tool. Yeah, there we go. This forecast tool. I like using this to see like percentage gains. So just lost it. There we go. So if we draw from where we are here to that golden pocket area, that could be a 385% gain for a push forward, just retesting that golden pocket. If you're expecting a retest of your previous highs, that could put you at 485. So the risk to reward after that golden pocket, not so great. Risk to reward right now, pretty decent in my opinion. That's pretty much what you want to watch. It's risk to reward, and is your coin continuing to grow? Yeah, it's kind of hard to see when your coins explode and then you're not in them. It's kind of hard to, you don't want to really FOMO in or out. Ideally, you could buy in. Don't go, oh man, I missed my opportunity. You do buy fractionalized coins, and just keep in mind, percentage is what matters, not value. Percentage is the ultimate value. If you're gaining 2% a day, that's going to be way more better for you and more consistent than gaining maybe $20 a day, because eventually that 2% is going to way outweigh that $20 depending on how much you have. So that's why percentages are more important to focus on than dollar values, in my opinion. So I appreciate all of you for watching, appreciate all the interaction. Have a great night. Hit the like.